Area at 4 to 10. At Network downtown continues 110 southbound, jamming up approaching 9th. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It's your 15-minute drive-through oil change, the fastest no-touch service money can buy, and expert technicians to check your oil, battery, tires, wipers, lights, and more before any holiday weekend road trips. Stop by your nearest Valvoline Instant Oil Change for locations at Dayton. Visit SoCalOilChange.com. Next report, 12:05 at CarsonToyota.com. 24-hour traffic center. KNX News 97.1 FM.
A sunny, windy, warm today. We've got forecast highs ranging from the mid-60s to the mid-70s. Clear tonight, 40s and 50s for your overnight lows. Sunny, warm again tomorrow is 60s and 70s. Your forecast highs once again. Currently it is 65 degrees in downtown LA. California is about to shift its attitude on COVID, moving from trying to conquer coronavirus to learning to live with it. That story in more than 3 minutes. It is 11:57.
Exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Now, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Now is like a little one-on-one teacher. It helps her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free copy. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Right now, people are home with their pets more often, and I think now, especially with the shedding, they're more cognizant of what's going on and that it's an actual issue. And Dynamite has helped tremendously around with that.
I just heard the Dynamite so we had I said, I'll give it a shot. We're going to try it one.
The Dynamite, being at home, working with them, they all love it. Me and Chewie are together 24/7.
Was it 3 weeks? She's not scratching it.
Blessed to your home. Get fresh designs and blessed during the President's Day event at Living Spaces. Shop a variety of in-stock styles and clear things up fast with 3-day shipping. Plus, pay no interest for 3 years on select purchases with good credit. Transform your pool and dining room, bedroom, backyard, and more. The best selection at the best price. Wait big and enjoy exclusive deals only during the President's Day event at Living Spaces. Living Spaces.
If your family depends on your income, if something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year flat.
It's unfolding right now.
He laid out in detail what the U.S. believes Russia's plans are.
Russia plans to manufacture a pretext for its attack.
It would then its security is at stake and launch a military invasion, according to Blinken, which includes missiles and tanks and cyber attacks.
We are laying it out in great detail. I hope that by sharing what we know with the world, we can influence Russia to abandon the path and choose a different path while there's still time.
Reporter Felix Light is in Moscow, where there's new fallout affecting relations between the U.S. and Russia.
Russia has expelled the U.S.'s number 2 diplomat in Moscow as tensions over Ukraine continue. The U.S. embassy in Russia promised a response to the expulsion of deputy head of mission Bart Gorman, who had been in Moscow since 2019. Earlier in the day, the Kremlin accused the U.S. of failing to respond to its demands and threatened to take, quote, military technical measures. Russia has demanded that Ukraine never be admitted to NATO, a promise the US-led military alliance has so far refused to
here, and we've got total redo of the road, repaving, re-engineered. It's going to be wonderful. We've got the campground closed.
Another reason for the reservation policy is to protect the natural beauty of the park by limiting visitation to about 70% of average. The construction projects represent the biggest upgrade to Yosemite in nearly a century. Coming up, the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles remain very busy and very backed up these days. As we read things off at the bottom of the hour, 12:30. Right now it is 12:25. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the fives. With this update sponsored by South Bay Hyundai. Here again, Barbara Brooks.
Oh, we may have something burning in Santa Clarita. Not a good thing, considering we've got strong gusty winds through there. It's reported 5 southbound around Calgrove, possibly off the freeway there, but we'll keep you updated if we see any activity there on the freeway itself. Wind advisory, of course, also for the 118. Very strong gusty winds all the way through the valley between the Santa Susana Pass and the 5. And we've still got a lot of road work downtown in the right lane of the 110 southbound around 9th Street. They've got the right lane blocked along the off-ramp, and that's just got you crawling from before Stadium Way, affecting the Hollywood freeway. Tough out of Hollywood on the southbound side, northbound looking busy through downtown, starting right about the 10. And you've still got a lot of company on the 5, the Golden State Freeway, anywhere between Griffith Park and the 10. You're going to find delays. Crash in Garden Grove, cleared over to the shoulder, actually to the center divider, left shoulder of the road, 22 westbound past Harbor. And the 60, still a tough ride through Ontario in both directions. Watch out for strong winds through there as well, west of the 15. The future is bright in the first ever all-new total electric 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 at South Bay Hyundai. And South Bay Hyundai has a large selection of the ultra-fast charging Ioniq 5s to choose from. Go to sbhyundai.com today. Next report, 12:35. With more reports more often on the CarsandToyota.com 24-hour traffic center. KNX News 97.1 FM.
Sunny, warm today. The winds are up. We do have a wind advisory in effect till 3 this afternoon. Right now it is 65 degrees sunny at the Civic Center downtown LA. Top stories as we approach the bottom of the hour. The switch from pandemic to endemic is coming to California. And yet face masks still cause for anger and debate at some local school board meetings. We'll tell you more in 3 minutes. It's 12:27.
It's Mike Simpson here. Over 35 million Americans have some level of dental anxiety. You don't like to think about going. You stay up the night before the appointment and lose sleep. But you can go to County Dental. They specialize in people with severe dental anxiety and people who need major work from years of neglect. They take care of all your fears. They do the work while you sleep. Gentle, twilight sleep, or full anesthesia, they make it easy. They can repair years of neglect in just 1 or 2 appointments, so you wake up to the new smile, and you wake up to being healthier. They do everything you need. Implants, crowns, root canals, full smile makeovers, the permanent teeth in just 1 day. Do not neglect your teeth. The staff at Cunning follows all the CDC guidelines. The office is always sterilized. Call now and get $500 off your sedation and a free exam, x-rays, and CT scan. Restrictions apply. It's 855-2-CUNNING, 855-2-CUNNING. Cunning Dental, making smiles great since 1968.
Cunning Dental, simply the best. Cunning Dental, simply the best.
Your premium priority.
We treat your food the way we want one. Free pickup on orders of $35 or more. Restrictions may apply.
And now you'll find more ways to save on your favorites. When you download digital coupons, you can use up to 5 times in one transaction. Ralph's, fresh for everyone.
Tiffany President's Day Savings Event is on at family-owned Carson Toyota. New shipment savings event is on at family-owned Carson Toyota. New shipments are arriving daily for this big event. Now get 1.9% financing for up to 72 months on select new Toyotas. Or get up to $1,500 customer cash on select new Toyotas. With zero money down, it's your choice. Shop online anytime at CarsonToyota.com or in person just off the 405 freeway at the Livingston Avenue exit. Don't miss it. Big event. Call 877-695-0123 for details. Explore Banana Republic Factory with 50% off everything. Shop versatile tops, adventure-ready pants, and more from $24.99. Find your nearest store or shop online. Only at Banana Republic Factory.
This is KNX News 97.1 FM, Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station. Good afternoon, I'm Chris Edens. It is our top local story at 12:30. The start of the year is turning out to be an exceptional one in our Southern California ports, but with that good news comes some growing concern about a growing trade deficit.
American consumers continue their spending spree, driving significant business at the Port of Los Angeles.
The best January in the port's 115-year history. Retail sales jumped 3.8% from December to January. Early Lunar New Year, which began on February the 1st, created a rush of cargo to get out of Asia before the holiday slowdown.
Port of LA's Executive Director, Gene Soroka.
We must find a way to improve American exports, getting our farmers and manufacturers back into the international game.
One of his biggest concerns, American exports. He says down 16% year over year for January. Craig Fickener, KNX News 97.1 FM.
Well, a plan to coexist with the coronavirus will be unveiled today. California officials say the virus will most likely be around for the foreseeable future, and the state is entering an endemic stage. That's when the virus still exists in the community, but becomes manageable as immunity builds. This comes a day after California lifted its latest indoor masking mandate. The LA Unified School District continues to stick to its outdoor mask mandate despite clearance from the county health director to remove them. And one medical expert blames messaging to date from state health officials.
The discussion from the governor on down is shifting from crisis mode to living with COVID, a so-called endemic approach. But Dr. Amish Adalja, an infectious disease specialist with Johns Hopkins, says they're late.
They didn't really prepare the population for the fact that this is going to be an endemic respiratory disease. They had to learn how to risk it. They had to get comfortable with the world in which COVID-19 is an ever-present virus, but a much more manageable virus.
Dr. Adalja, FM.
It's 12:32. We have an earthquake in California, and now
The system would give people advance early, and people with underlying that bake the LA area and the Bay Area, and in some cases cause big spot of a heat wave system.
Our vulnerable communities, a fifth house.
Officials also pointed out that heat waves are no longer just a summertime thing. They know one that hit LA over Super Bowl weekend set the mercury soaring.
a new UCLA study finds the average temperature in the region is on pace to go up by 9 degrees unless major action is taken to better curb emissions. While we have seen a number of major fires in Southern California recently, researchers say there has not been a major increase to the amount of land burned by fires in the past 50 years, but the study's authors warn that could soon change. It's 12:34, your freeway check just about a minute away. First, a wind-driven wildfire is eluding containment. This is in the Owens Valley area. The firefighters have so far kept it from destroying or damaging any buildings. CAL FIRE says this fire has scorched more than 3,900 acres so far. The fire erupted yesterday near Eastern Sierra Regional Airport, just outside the town of Bishop. Winds drove it south to
Russian hackers or criminal enterprises to create plausible deniability for Moscow. It also warns successful hacks could disrupt day-to-day operations for law enforcement.
In St. Louis, heavy rain is changing to snow with temperatures dropping into the 20s quickly. The system expected to dump as much as 6 inches of snow in parts of the Midwest. Firefighters say their on-the-job hazards now include cancer, possibly caused by their equipment. 44 firefighters sued this week, alleging that the chemicals used to make what they call their turnout gear, flame, water, and oil resistant, are making them sick. Joe Marchetti rose through the ranks to become deputy chief of the Brockton, Massachusetts Fire Department.
I'll bring it into my house with what we know about the turnout gear now and the chemicals that are in it.
In 2016, at age 46, Marchetti was diagnosed with prostate cancer, which he blames on the chemicals. Since 2015, almost 3 out of 4 firefighters added to a national memorial have died from so-called occupational cancer. Christopher Cruz, CBS News. On Wall Street, Dow closed down 623 points. Nasdaq lost more than 400. This is CBS News. If you're checking for fever, the leading sign of COVID-19, beware of dangerously inaccurate non-contact thermometers. Instead, learn about Exogen at exogen.com.
This is KNX News 97.1 FM, Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station. Good afternoon, I'm Karen Adams. KNX in depth in just a moment, but first our top local stories at 1:03. The governor will be in San Bernardino County this afternoon to announce a plan for coexisting with COVID. The plan is based on the state entering an endemic stage where the virus still exists but becomes manageable as immunity builds. Officials are delaying an announcement on when they will stop requiring masks in schools. And as California moves towards an unmasked endemic approach to COVID, hundreds of thousands of students in the LA Unified School District are still waiting to find out if they can take off their masks outdoors.
I can't explain it from a scientific basis. I hear that this is a political-based or fear-based decision.
Dr. Amos Shatalja is an infectious disease specialist at Johns Hopkins. He says with all the tools that are available right now to fight COVID, including the additional improvements made by LA Unified, he sees no reason for holding off on taking off masks, at least outdoors, when the county public health director is allowing it.
How much of this is just theater and catering to people's fears and really just an unwillingness to kind of adapt to the new normal?
Dr. Adalja says too many people still have an unrealistic zero COVID mindset. The district's new superintendent told us that they are consulting with their medical experts and they could be in a position to make some announcement on guidelines going into next week. Vicki Moore, KNX News 97.1 FM. American consumers continue to spend, meaning LA is seeing no shortage of goods entering the U.S. through some to the port of Los Angeles. The overall volume of more than 865,000 20-foot equivalent units represents the anywhere in the port's 115-year history. Gene Soroka, executive director of the port, he's referring to those large metal rectangular containers that we see coming ships. By contrast, he says American exports scores of work for longshore employees. Craig Figg, KNX News, 97.1 FM. And we have this breaking news. The jury has found Eric Kay guilty of giving Tyler Skaggs the drugs that led to his death in July of 2019. The jury concluded that Kay, a former Angels Communications director, is guilty of both distributing fentanyl and oxycodone and providing Skaggs the fentanyl that resulted in him choking in his vomit in a suburban Dallas hotel room. And stay with KNX for more on this breaking news throughout the day. It's 1:05. KNX in depth coming up in just a moment. But first, let's check those roads. Here's Barbara Brooks. Well, we've had troubles on the 5 with heavy traffic. Now we've got a couple of crashes. San Elysian Park crash in the center divider, 5 southbound at Stadium Way. And then up ahead, 5 southbound for Broadway. Wreck cleared over to the shoulder, both those adding to your drive. Basically off of 134 in downtown. You've still got those cones 110 southbound around 9th in the right lane, taking away that. And the off-ramp still very tough from Stadium Way and the 101, just a mess out of Hollywood southbound and northbound through downtown. New problem on the 210 eastbound and Azusa crash there, taking up the left lane, definitely adding to your drive from the 605 as you make your way through the Azusa area westbound, not looking too much better from Grand. And you've got that wreck in Anaheim, 5 northbound connector to the 91 westbound in the right lane, definitely causing you some slowing on that connector. Santa Ana, 4 o'clock northbound, past MacArthur, truck stalled out. 3rd lane on the left is locked there. Your next report at 1:15 with more reports more often in the CarsonToyota.com 24-hour traffic center. KNX News 97.1 FM.
This is KNX In Depth. I'm Mike Simpson.
I'm Charles Feldman. On the menu, as gas prices continue their climb in California, the governor wants to postpone the new gas tax set to start this summer. It's a way to offer people some relief as they deal with record prices. But lawmakers in Sacramento, they are saying no. They argue that money is needed for vital programs. We'll go in depth into this dispute. We might be moving even closer to herd immunity in the pandemic thanks to the rapid spread of Omicron. Another problem, people with long COVID might have the Secretary of State to the United Nations to warn of an imminent Russian invasion of Ukraine.
3G is disappearing. We'll get into what that could mean for your car. Could be bad news.
$1 more than $1 more than anywhere else in the nation. It isn't all taxes. California taxes are about 51.1 cents per gallon. They're the highest, second only to Pennsylvania. But we're paying, like I said, more than $1 more than the rest of America. So there's a lot of profit for the oil refiners built into this. But it adds up to it being unaffordable for people to drive. And the governor's got to offer some relief particularly in an election year. You know, he doesn't really have an opponent, but I think he wants to make his case. He's looking out for the public.
Yeah, so the argument goes, give people a break right now. Things are expensive enough. We've got all this inflation. So why are some of these Democrats, seemingly being tone deaf? But they're going to say, you know what? These programs, the roads are bad enough anyways. We need all the help we can get.
Yeah, but it would be one thing if they actually had taken the time over the last, 6, 7, 8 years when we pointed out why we're paying more per gallon and it wasn't taxes to actually investigate and legislate to stop it. I mean, we know that we call it the Golden State Gouge. We know when prices go up that oil refiners aren't making more money off California than anywhere else in America. And they haven't bothered to look into that. They haven't bothered to do an excess profits tax and take that back from the oil companies. They haven't bothered to curb the oil companies' ability to make this profit in any way, shape, or form. So now the governor has, what is a simple solution for a little bit of relief. They don't really have a leg to stand on. But I think if they want to get serious about giving people relief, they want to keep the tax dollars, then they've got to find a way to come down on the oil refiners for making so much money. And there are ways. We are exploring ways to do that legislatively.
But let me ask you something, because I know we've had this discussion on the show and maybe even with you over the years. How often have you said to people, something needs to be done to sort of, thwart the gas companies from gouging the public, and yet year after year after year, nothing really changes?
You're 100% right. And part of it is that we don't have all of the information. We don't know, for instance, how much money the oil refiner is making off every gallon of gas, every barrel of gas in California. They used to report it. About 7, 8 years ago, they reported it, and then we put out those numbers and showed they were making a fortune, and they stopped reporting those numbers. A good step would be getting the oil refiners, there are about 5 of them that control like 80% of the gas supply in the state, to report how much it costs them basically when they put a barrel of crude through a refinery and how much they're making selling that barrel of crude after it's been refined. And when we know that, we know how much more they're making than they do in other states, how much more they're making than they should. And if we want to take some of that money back to excess profits tax, we could, but we need to legislate that because they're not volunteering how much they're making off these barrels of gas. And of course, crude oil is a factor. Crude's going up. The geopolitical standoff with Russia drove crude oil prices up. But again, that doesn't necessarily translate to California having to pay more for gasoline because the crude oil California oil refiners are using isn't coming from Russia. It's a speculative market, and every opportunity they do to raise gas prices, they raise them, but it really translates to more profit. We need to know what that profit is before we can claw it back. And I'm interested in legislation this year. I'm exploring legislation this year with some legislators to do exactly that, so we know next year how much they're making off us, and if it's too much, we can try to get that money back.
Jamie Coates, president of Consumer Watchdog.
Coming up, maybe getting to that goal, herd immunity. Wholesale District Special. We have the highest rated customer satisfaction and the lowest overhead in all of Southern California. That equals the best value for you. Call 800-800-NIC. And remember, Nick can't say no.
Dr. Charles Manger at Saddleback Eye Center wants to give you the all-new Laser Light LASIK exam. A Laser Light LASIK exam uses a laser to measure your eyes over 1,000 times to perfectly map your vision. I can give away a Laser Light LASIK exam to the first 14 KNX callers only, so stand by. You'll get a phone number in moments. But the Laser Light LASIK exam, it's important. Whether you have nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism, or you just need reading glasses. And if you've been told that you're not a candidate for LASIK, you may now qualify for it with the accuracy of the Laser Light LASIK exam. It'll take over 1,000 measurements of your eyes. You must be one of the first 14 callers. This is free. Call now. 866-755-4444. 866-755-4444. 866-755-4444.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Granger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, we're the ones who get it done.
Got 40 to 10 coming in. We need to flip those two tables. Please, restaurant is fully booked night after night. Tree is telling she no longer has reservations about finally finding a hostess. Why doesn't 23 have menus? Oh, there, man. Indeed can help her hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do.
15 traffic every 7 minutes on 5 spots by Jack Fox. Barbara Brooks.
Now on the 101 eastbound to Tampa, construction equipment takes up the left lane. That's just adding to your drive out of the West Valley from DeSoto. You still got delays. 405 southbound, Shad out of the valley, on and off through the Sepulveda Pass. And watch out for a lot of heavy traffic on the 5. Southbound, crash before Broadway clearing up. It's up to the shoulder, but traffic very slow. Starting at the 134, you're on and off the brakes pretty much all the way down to the 10. And you've got that Caltransfer downtown. Things up on the 110. Southbound at night, there's got the right lane in the off-ramp. Delays from Stadium Way, 101 southbound, tough out of Hollywood northbound, not looking too good now. All the way out of the East LA interchange. And a crash in Azusa, 210 eastbound at Azusa, takes up the left lane. Pulling you from the 605 northbound, jammed up, approaching the 210. And 210 westbound, even a busy ride starting before Grand. Try Jack in the Box's new 15-piece nacho tiny tacos with nacho cheese flavor in every bite for just $3.50, or get them bacon loaded with bacon pieces, melted cheese and ranch on top for $4.50. Order now on the Jack app or have them delivered. Next report at 1:25. With more reports more often in the CarsonToyota.com 24-hour traffic center. KNX News 71 FM.
You're listening to KNX In Depth.
Attention, I'm Charles Felton, Silicon President, warning a Russian invasion of Ukraine could be getting closer, and your dog and your cats could soon get their own Bill of Rights in California.
Right now, we may just be stumbling into herd immunity against COVID. The Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington estimates almost 3 in 4 people in the country are now immune to Omicron because they either were infected or vaccinated. With us now is Dr. Theo Ross, Professor of Health Metrics Sciences at the Institute. So, Doctor, thanks for being with us. Roughly 73% of Americans may now be immune to Omicron, to the coronavirus. How did you get that figure?
A number of things that come together. First, it is the proportion of people who will be vaccinated, and then depending on the type of vaccine and the number of vaccinations that people have received, we can estimate what proportion have protection against the Omicron virus. Then secondly, there are lots and lots of people who already become infected by Omicron, and by natural infection have built up immunity. And that proportion is rather large because there's a large proportion of people who become infected with Omicron who don't even notice.
Included in the statistics, Doctor, when you're talking about those of us who say have been vaccinated, but to our knowledge have not gotten the Omicron variant, are you presupposing that the current vaccines would still grant a degree of immunity to the Omicron variant?
Yeah, it depends a little bit on the type of vaccine, but there is a partial immunity against the new variant like Omicron. It's not great, and hence you see the spikes, but I think the important thing is that even among vaccinated people, there will be quite a few people who will have become reinfected without really noticing it because they didn't develop any symptoms.
So what do we do at this point with this kind of info?
Count ourselves incredibly lucky that Omicron came around and yes, has been much more infectious than the previous variants, particularly Delta, which had pretty severe consequences.
But what happens when, I'm saying when, not if, another variant comes along that might be far more pernicious than Omicron?
Yeah, of course, that's a big unknown, but we predict that for the next variant to take over from Omicron, it would have to have additional benefits in spreading, because that's how the selection of viruses happens. Therefore, we expect that a new variant, when it comes around, is likely to be even more transmissible, and that it will concentrate more on the upper airways. And so it may well be that the next variant will have relatively modest health effects like Omicron.
So does that mean we do this whole dance again if it has this transmissibility but it's not as severe? Do we have to do the masking? Are we concerned about hospitals if it spreads so fast? Or is it, you know what, as long as we can keep it to flu levels for hospitalizations or deaths, then we've seen this kind of thing before?
Yeah, I actually think that in peak season of transmission of these respiratory viruses, including influenza, it may still be not a bad idea in crowded indoor environments to wear a mask. But it's likely that it's a much more manageable problem where we also no longer really need to go out gung-ho and test everyone with symptoms. It's probably enough if we have sensible sites, general practitioners who have been selected to send everyone with airway complaints for testing to keep track of when a new variant appears. And this is a system that's been in place in many countries for influenza.
For those who are vaccinated, the future of future vaccinations would be what in your view?
Not so easy to predict, but it's likely that there would be beneficial effects from repeat vaccination, possibly with adjusted vaccinations that are more in tune with that is around. And hopefully there will be also progress with vaccine manufacturers
おはようございます。もうなんか電波メタメタっすね。
that is more universal.
Dr. Dale Buss at the University of Washington.
電波ね、ちょっと今パン食べてます。すみませんね。パン食べてます。やっと今朝ごはん食べてますよ。さっきありがとうございますね。もしかして。
Jules in Minneapolis, and Dan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything process under your control. At Granger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations who use the product you're looking for. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Well, okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age.
多分これ
Just
で
have a 3-minute chat
これ
with
でだいぶ良
Alma,
くなっ
a
たんやろ
friendly
な。
digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got
YouTube
your
の方
back.
はもう電波めちゃめちゃほら
Now they moved that. Let's listen
電波が悪いの
where
か
you
通
are
信
retirement savings
も
journey.
う
Head to
電波じゃないや
aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today.
50% 使い切ったら 50% じゃな
A
くて
message from AARP is on it. Family-owned Carson Toyota. New shipments are arriving daily for
じゃ
this
なく
big
てやっ
event.
ぱり電波が
91.9%
止まってるといいってこと
financing
は
on select new Toyotas. Get up to
動いてる間
$1,500
の
cashback
あれが悪いって
on
ことで
select
す
new
よね。
Toyotas.
ね
Buy today with zero money down. Anaheim is down just a bit, so use caution 60. And troubles on the 210 in Azusa, eastbound at Azusa. Left lane blocked with a crash jamming you from before the 605. Actually, now it's slowing down starting before Myrtle. And you're going to find delays westbound as well, starting before Grant. And troubles continue downtown with that construction. On the 110 southbound at 9th, right lane blocked along with the off-ramp, just jamming things up. On the southbound 110, along with the 101, goes northbound, southbound there as you try to head in. Calabasas. Whether brand new or BMW certified, it's here. Start driving. Bob Smith BMW just off the 101, bobsmithbmw.com. Next report 135. We'll report more often in the carsontoyota.com 24-hour traffic center. And it's 90.71 FM.
This is KNX in depth along with Charles Felton from Lexus.
Coming up, your dog, cat have rights too, just like you. The new Bill in Sacramento passes an mansion, living life like a Disney princess or hero. That dream will become a reality soon, right here in Southern California.
Right now, another problem some people face after getting COVID is heart damage. Dr. Purvi Parwani with us now, director of the COVID-19 Heart Clinic at Loma Linda University Health. Doctor, thanks for being here. So we did something the other week on broken heart syndrome, big stressful events taking a physical toll. Is this closer to that, or is this actual damage that you can see, that you can monitor, caused by COVID itself? Because we know that COVID can cause all sorts of problems. Doctor, you with us? Nope.
Hey,
Oh,
yes.
there you are.
There.
Sorry, I just joined. So, okay, sorry. Can you repeat your question for me?
Yeah, take us through what you're seeing in terms of these patients with the heart damage. And is this caused by COVID, something you can see, something you can monitor?
That's a great question. So, I think what we are seeing with COVID is COVID definitely can lead to direct damage to the heart. So, if we look at the patients that are admitted to the hospital due to COVID-19, almost 20 to some sort of heart inflammation, what we know as myocarditis, but also cases of heart failure. So that's kind of the extreme people that are admitted to the hospital with COVID. But we also see COVID long-haul cardiac symptoms, and these are the patients that continue to have symptoms beyond 3 weeks. And what we know is almost 1 in 3 patients that get COVID-19 infection will have COVID long-haul symptoms, and these symptoms range from palpitation, chest pain, shortness of breath. Sometimes they get dizzy. Sometimes they can have infection.
Symptomatic or maybe even asymptomatic COVID infections end up with some form of long-haul symptoms, often involving the heart. Is that the figure?
That's correct. Yeah, 1/3 of the patient, even with mild infection or in some cases, completely asymptomatic infection can develop COVID long haul. Now, when we say cardiac symptoms, these symptoms range from extreme fatigue, pain, chest tightness, shortness of breath, palpitations. We are seeing new onset blood pressure. People who never had blood pressure issues suddenly coming with blood pressure issues. So yes, all of those are possible, and that's why in the first place we don't want patients to get COVID infection.
I was going to ask, does this include that figure, the 1/3 people who are also fully vaccinated?
Actually, so these statistics came from last year when we did not have that many vaccinated individuals getting. What we have seen in last few months is definitely vaccinated individuals are getting infection, and what we know so far is long haul COVID severity and incidence are less in vaccinated individuals than in unvaccinated people.
We know that long COVID sometimes can pass, other times it's really long COVID. What about some of these symptoms? Can you bring that blood pressure back down, or if you've got actual palpitations or some kind of heart damage going on, damage is done, and that's what it is.
Well, that's a great question. So that's what we are trying to understand by, systematically studying these patients. So what I can tell you from my experience running this clinic since last year is that most of these patients do get better. Most of them, within 6 months, they will have betterment of these symptoms. They are able to, keep up with that, their activity, the fatigue subsides, the chest pressure pain subsides. But we do have patients in our clinic who had, very mild COVID infection, and they continue to have symptoms beyond 1 year. Which is what we don't understand. Why do some patients, carry these symptoms way beyond after the COVID infection is over?
Dr. Purvi Parwani, director of the COVID-19 Hearts Clinic at Loma Linda University Health.
Later on in the show, we're going to talk about a planned community in Southern California. You can live the Disney life. We said you can live like a Disney princess. And when I said that, who came to mind? Karen. Karen.
Sometimes I don't even want to turn on the mic.
I mean, I could see you as a Disney princess. I can.
Oh, thank you. But you know what?
Yeah.
I like Disney. I really do. But I'm curious what it will all be. I want to hear more about their plans.
It sounds a little weird, but
It does. But there's a kid in all of us. I mean, and I'm sure it's not going to be like, amusement parkish,
But you can hear.
Donald Duck might be the mailman.
Oh, who knows? I don't know about that. But yeah.
Oh, well.
Tinkerbell zooming through the skies. I don't know.
Rather thinking on that. Okay, so now, onward with the news in brief. Here's Karen.
Thanks, Charles. A former Angels employee has been convicted of providing Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs the drug that led to his overdose death in Texas. Eric Kay was convicted of 1 count each of drug distribution resulting in death and drug conspiracy. He faces at least 20 years and up to life in prison. Skaggs' widow and his mother hugged as the verdict was announced. Kay took off his jacket and tie and was placed in the handcuffs, nodding toward his family and friends in the courtroom. Now, the trial included players who said they received oxycodone pills from Kay at various times from 2017 and 2019, the years Kay was accused of obtaining pills and giving them to players. Kay also used drugs himself, according to testimony and court documents. The governor is expected to unveil a plan this afternoon for coexisting with COVID, which scientists say is likely to be around for the foreseeable future. Now, that plan presumes the state is entering an endemic stage for exports bound as well.
Sigler continues in Anaheim, south northbound connector to the 91 westbound left lane of that connect road blocks. Slowing things a bit. Get in Anaheim Hills, you get a crash in the fast track lane of the 91 eastbound past Gypsum. Watch out for delays from Weir. Your next report at 1:45 with more reports more often at CarsonToyota.com. Center, KNX News 97.1 FM.
This is KNX in depth. He's Mike Simpson. I'm Charles Felt.
President Biden says Russia could invade Ukraine within days. Diverted Secretary of State sent him to the Ukraine. Russia is moving toward an imminent invasion of Ukraine.
At this time, reports of shelling between Ukrainian forces and Russia-backed separatists, as well as the expulsion from Russia of the U.S. #2 diplomat there. Aaron David Miller, Senior Fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and CNN Global Affairs Analyst. Thanks for being back with us. So I guess a lot of people are kind of
what exactly is Vladimir Putin up to, in the sense that the Russians keep saying we're pulling back, we're not really planning an invasion. They certainly know that we have spy satellites and we have intelligence on the ground and who knows where else. And we seem to be saying, no, that's not true. So what's the point?
Well, just remember, guys, first of all, thanks for having me. The question is which constituency is Mr. Putin trying to appeal to with false flag, accusation of genocide or Donbass, fictional chemical weapons, all the things that he's making right out to me at the U.S. It's certainly not the West he's making it, and it's his own domestic. And I think there, the idea of the West as the aggressor, Ukraine as a kind of permanent possession, quote unquote unified with the former Soviet Union and now aggressive, going back centuries, all of that is mystical and fiction. But it may well play well at home. To the question of what Mr. Putin wants and what he's going to do, the reality is, and we get these weather reports from the administration every single day, and I'm not being critical. I think Biden's handled this thing pretty well. You get weather reports every day. Putin's going to invade. No, he's withdrawing troops. No, he's going to invade. The fact is, there's only one human on the planet right now who knows exactly what Vladimir Putin is going to do. It would take the oracle at Delphi, reading Godot trails, trying to figure out exactly what he wants. I would boil it down to three options: a major invasion of Ukraine, a diplomatic off-ramp, which could be comprised of several things that he could claim that he's actually gained over the course of the last 3 weeks, or a hybrid option of maintaining pressure on the weakest link in the chain. And what is the weakest link? It's not NATO, it's not Joe Biden, it's not the EU, it's Ukraine. And what you see now, cyber attacks against main banks, paralyzation of the Ukrainian economy. Now, they're losing billions. There's no foreign direct investment. Their bonds are literally being devalued. And now he's pressuring eastern Ukraine, where he has local actors that are in support of Russian policy. He could keep this up for weeks.
Yeah, I was just saying, how much longer can we play they're going without further warning, maybe, or maybe they're not game before either it's just not believe that he's going, or, I mean, how long can he hold those troops realistically at the border?
Well, with $600 billion in assets and an economy that's clearly not sanction-proof, but is clearly capable, I suspect, for a reasonable period of time of accommodating almost anything that Joe Biden is prepared to throw at the Russians. I think he could probably maintain this fight for quite a while. Where this ends, however, is the real question. I don't think it's only about Ukrainian membership in NATO. I mean, even Zelensky the other day referred to Ukrainian membership in NATO as a dream. Putin's real problem is that Ukraine is moving, not drifting, it's moving west. And this is an area that he believes is a Russian sphere of influence. The area between Berlin and Moscow. It has been a legitimate Soviet and now Russian security concern for a very long time. He thinks that he needs to control the destiny of many of the actors in that space. So this crisis is not going to end. Sad to say, we're going to be dealing with Mr. Putin for quite some time. Yeah, but it will not be a pleasant or happy experience.
Yeah, but at what point does Mr. Biden start looking like the sort of the sky is falling guy? Because every day he's saying it's imminent, they can do it today, they can do it tomorrow, and if days, weeks go by, at some point people are going to go, yeah, we've heard that one before.
No, it's Chicken Little. Although I'm not sure I have the kid story down right. The sky is falling again. Probably right at some point. Look, if this crisis ends up to be sort of frozen, no major military, certainly no major invasion. What if Putin decides to create a limited military move in an area where he has local support and he recognizes the two states in the Donbass? Luhansk and Donetsk, and he basically makes them permanently part of Russia. You know, he doesn't massively invade the country. That could create some tension within NATO. You know, where you stand is where you sit. And the Germans do not sit where we do. They have a different relationship with Putin. They're dependent on Russian gas and energy. So that could be one way. He's looking for pressure points and cracks to see who will blink first. I just, under the circumstances, as I mentioned, I think that it's interesting because President Xi has aspirations on Taiwan. Putin has aspirations on Ukraine. This may not be settled in one fell swoop, some grand military move designed to take over the country. In both cases, I think Xi and Putin have in mind a much broader process to test the West, find out where the vulnerabilities are. It could take years.
And playing a long game. Aaron David Miller, Senior Fellow, Carnegie Endowments for International Peace and CNN Global Affairs Analyst.
Coming up, another Bill of Rights, this time about pets.
Are you sick of trying to keep up with the wild financial market swings, a global pandemic, supply chain issues, inflation? We are living in turbulent times. Welcome to the new normal. You have worked hard for your money, and it's not unreasonable to want a reliable return while having no market risk. So please listen closely. Let me introduce you to my friends at Reliant Capital. They could deliver a 10 to 12% return on your investment, and all IRAs and 401k rollovers are eligible. I challenge you to just make the call and set up a no-obligation phone consultation. Call 800-788-1000. That's 800-788-1000. Protect what you have worked for and possibly get the double-digit returns Warren Buffett has been earning for years. Remember the first rule of making money: don't lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. Be like the thousands of listeners over the past decade who have made the call to Reliant Capital. Call now. Consultations book up quickly. 800-788-1000. That's 800-788-1000.
Aaron here, the founder of California Deluxe Windows. A lot of companies get their windows shipped from all over the globe, but many supply ships are stranded in the ocean waiting to unload. That means higher prices and longer wait times. But California Deluxe Windows don't come through the port. They come off the 405 or 101. We design, manufacture, and install all our own products, so you get fantastic windows at an affordable price. And our installation technique is so precise. We do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips. We wouldn't crack one.
So remember, if you're looking for beautiful custom windows and doors made right here in LA, call California Deluxe Windows. For a limited time, you get 20% off your entire project and 18 months of 0% financing. Call California Deluxe Windows at 800-843-1400. That's 800-843-1400. Again, 800-843-1400.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 77451. No matter the weather, it's a perfect day to consider getting a COVID-19 booster, as recommended by the CDC. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Contemporary.
Local pharmacy, me about community. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Accident, injury, call Jacob and Ronnie. Call Jacob.
Traffic now brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. And here's Barbara Brooks.
Well, we've got troubles if you're heading into the valley. A new problem is an accident in lane 405 northbound at Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks, causing you some sudden braking down the hill southbound. It's been a busy ride. And flow from the 101 gets even worse in West LA from Wilshire to the 90. And watch out in downtown. Looks like they still haven't picked up the cones on the 110 southbound at night. The delays from Stadium Way, Hollywood Freeway.
of Rights, one of the most famous documents in history, next to, of course, our Constitution, the Declaration of Independence,